Practical tips for mid-level writers. Okay. I would say that being a good writer is the most dangerous place you can be in film and TV, and I'm going to explain why. I'm Sarah Asante, founder of the Asante Space, where I help writers and producers make their pitches land when it matters. I'm a former BBC TV exec and a BAFTA and British Film Institute mentor. I spent a decade commissioning and developing scripted shows, and I've put millions into programs and thousands into development. So today I'm going to tell you why strong film and TV scripts still get stuck and what you can do to stop that happening to yours. Here are the 10 most practical tips I can give film and TV writers like you that the gatekeepers, like I used to be, never talk about. You don't have to figure this out alone. I've got you covered. Let me walk you through what actually moves stories forward when you feel stuck and you're staring at that blank page. So my first tip is around midpoint problems. Lots of writers come to me about the middle of their project sagging a little bit. So if the middle of your script keeps on sagging, the show doesn't yet generate enough pressure on your characters. Second act problems usually means the engine doesn't really apply enough pressure, or it doesn't attack the right part of the character. The question you have to ask yourself is, what problem does the show keep forcing the character to face over and over again, but in different ways? Say, for instance, your character is a loner or an absent parent, but they're being forced to look after a vulnerable child. That's an internal wound that they have to face over and over again. What we're looking for is if they embrace it or if they reject it, because every action tells us more and more about this person's character. Articulate the engine in one sentence if you can, and I'd say stop writing or rewriting your scenes if you can't. You really need to be able to articulate the engine of your story. Once the engine is clear, the characters either come alive or they expose themselves through decision making. Which leads me to my second point around character, which is about keeping your characters consistent. Consistency in characters, I would say, matters far more than likability. I don't care if your lead is messy or abrasive, a comedy monster or a heroic good person. What I care is that their behavior tracks. If they surprise us, it must feel inevitable when we look back. The caveat, though, is backstory does not equal character. What we're looking out for is pattern of choice, contradictions, pressure responses. Here's an example that you can try on your own script to see if you are barking up the right tree. Go through and track your protagonist's decisions across your script or across your episode. Ask yourself, are they actively choosing or being dragged through the plot? The red flag to look out for is characters acting out of character only to serve the story. That's a big no-no. What I'd say is plot only works when it keeps poking at the same internal wound. Which leads me to tip number 3, which is, I think every main character needs their own personal problem that the plot keeps on poking at as well, like a scab. The plot should constantly trigger the same internal wound. If the story could happen to anyone, then it's not character-led enough. Which leads me on to tip number 4. If you can't articulate the story problem in one sentence, then you can't fix it. Writers often find themselves overwriting because they haven't named the real issue. Get clarity first and worry about your page count later. Tip number 5 is stop protecting your favorite scenes. If a scene only works because you love it, then that's not craft, it's attachment. Strong writers cut early and cut smart. I did the Robert McKee story course where he talks about getting into your scene late and leaving as early as possible. It means that you get such a discipline about thin slicing and fine tuning your scenes. Try it, it may help you out. Tip number 6 is momentum. I would say momentum is far more important than information. If a scene explains but it doesn't turn, it's dead weight. Ask yourself, what changes by the end of this scene? So here's a scene test for you. If you can ask yourself what changes at the end, your explanation is the drama. Mistakes that some writers make is overwriting clarity instead of sharpening their turns. Here's a practical test for you. Remove the first 2 lines of your scene. Does it still work? Does it improve it? If you're a mid-level writer who's trying to develop in isolation, I'm opening the Script Advantage Network in January 2026. It's going to be a space for writers who kind of already know the basics and want sharper craft, better judgment, and real accountability. There are links below if you want to work at that level, but I hope that these practical tips are really helping you along the way, which leads me on to tip number 7. Your B story is where the thematic depth lives and breathes. If your B story feels decorative, then you're missing a trick. It should argue with or complicate the A story, not echo it. Tip number 8 is writing speed is a professional skill, but it's not a character trait. If you're a mid-level writer, deadlines really matter. They're very real. So build habits that allow you to draft even when inspiration isn't with you. That's how careers really last. Tip number 9 is notes. Everyone dreads notes, but I'd say that notes aren't personal, but the patterns that they flag up are. If 3 different execs flag the same issue across different projects, then that's your growth point. Really pay attention to that. Track the pattern. Don't worry about the exact comment that they make. Don't personalize it. At the end of the day, storytelling is collaborative. Most execs are really asking, can I build with this person? Can they take notes? Do they truly know what we're making? I advise you to stop defending everything and start taking notes literally by asking for details. Start listening for the problem beneath the note. A nice reframe of this is, what's the anxiety behind this feedback? Really try and seek the answer on that. This is exactly the kind of thing I break down more inside the Script Advantage Network. Not theory, but what actually moves the project forward. My last tip is about staying power. We really need to have a conversation about mindset for writers who are struggling to get in or stay in the industry. And I would say that staying power comes from a repeatable process, not one great script. The writers who last aren't the most gifted. They're the ones who can deliver clarity, revisions, and resilience consistently. Build a process for yourself so that when you have low confidence days, when you are dealing with notes and rewrites, when you have a deadline looming, tackle it without the adrenaline, without that race to the finish line. One practical habit that you can maybe adopt is separate your drafting days from your thinking days. Track your patterns as well. What note do you always get? Where do you stall? Where do you procrastinate? Let me leave you with the biggest truth that I've learned as an executive supporting writers for nearly 10 years. Reliability beats brilliance. The writers who last, they deliver clarity, they respond well under pressure, they improve draft upon draft upon draft. What's reassuring though is if you're stuck, you're probably close and not failing like you think you are. What I'm doing with the Script Advantage Network isn't about if you have the talent or not. What it is about is clarity, good judgment, and gaining great processes. So if you want support to level up and confidently sneak past the gatekeepers, I'm building something special for writers just like you who are done with developing alone. All the links for my Script Advantage Network are pasted below. Join us if you're ready to level up your storytelling and your pitching skills.